Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Coffee on the Coast. My name is Jason Prigge, and I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Seehafer Broadcasting, which is sponsoring today. I'm going to put their little logo up there just in the right-hand side for a little bit there. Just a little bit of props. Seehafer's been very good to the Coolest Coast, helping us spread the good news. And talking about spreading good news, I have some very special guests with me today. The screen is full with cool people. Tim, you want to go around the horn and tell us who's here?
Certainly. I'm here today with the people that make the Manitowoc Aluminum Kitchmas Incorporated group work like a well-oiled machine. President and collector of all things Barb Bundy Yost, and Jordan Cabot, who words can't quite sum up. Except for that he has the best head of hair I may have ever seen.
Wow,
you are a handsome young man, Jordan.
Maki, by the way.
Before we get into things, I just want to shout out to my beautiful wife, Tina. We miss you on the show. We love you very much, and we wish you well. She is doing well for anybody out there on the Coolest Coast that's curious. She is lovely and handling everything with grace. So let's get into it. What we're talking about today is another wonderful program, another wonderful display by the Manitowoc Public Library. Tim, what are we talking about?
Well, we're just going to start off with the Enchanted Evergleams at Manitowoc Public Library, which is the crown jewel, I like to describe it at any rate, of the Evergleams on 8th exhibit. Now, the Evergleams on 8th exhibit is just absolutely phenomenal, period. It adds so much to our downtown area and Manitowoc during the holiday season. It's transcended just being a Yuletide thing where it embraces culture and ingenuity and history and business and enterprise in our area. And it's but more than anything, it's gorgeous. And it just adds so much light and life to the downtown during this time. And we're so absolutely fortunate to have close to, over 40 trees at the library in the Enchanted Evergreen Forest. So it's phenomenal. And Jordan and Barb, just take it away, because I'll just pitch you softball things like Larry King.
All right. We have the rarest of the rare at the library. That's our collector, Fran, whose dad had a furniture store on Washington Street in Manitowoc, probably during the same time these trees were created. So, and we're very fortunate because the library offers us such a prime spot in downtown Manitowoc, and you are open so many hours during the week, so many people can come in and really bask in the glory of all that sparkle. And so we feel very, very fortunate to put up these very rare trees, which many have come to us since we started our not-for-profit, right, Jordan? I mean, who'd have thought there would really be a 14-foot Evergleam fountain?
Right. I mean, for us to acquire that as a nonprofit, get that as a donation, and that to come back to Manitowoc for everyone to see publicly, I mean, that's just amazing. That it's not in a private collection somewhere.
It's an amazing
It came
addition
to us from the family that has had it since the 1960s, and they wanted it to come back to Manitowoc. And it's really because, we have this relationship with the library that happened. It was because of the Digital Sparkle program that happened in 2020 because of COVID. And that's how the family found out about what we were doing and reached out to you, Barb, and the rest, I guess, is history. So, I mean, that's just one story among a host of others. We've received so many donations from generous people, trees and other items as well, aluminum items that we're able to put on display in the downtown, at the library, but in businesses as well, along 8th Street and adjacent areas. So it's great that everybody gets to see all of this great stuff that's part of our history.
That our aluminum history is very important. As a matter of fact, today I met with Eileen over at Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry, and they'll be included in the exhibition this year. And it's just amazing. I mean, everybody started around the same time in 1909, and WAFCO is still going strong in this day and age. And so we might all get the wonderful surprise of seeing a pink pressure cooker near a pink tree.
Nice.
It should be kind of
Yeah.
cool.
That's
Right, yeah.
you bring up something really interesting, Barb, and that's the history of this that runs really deep in our community. And I remember having a friend in town and saw all the trees downtown and was just amazed and had never seen a tree like that before. And they're from a specific period of time. Jordan, when were these trees produced? And were they all produced in Manitowoc?
Well, aluminum Christmas trees were not solely produced in Manitowoc, but we do have the stamp of the very first mass-produced aluminum Christmas trees. They were invented in Chicago, but they were made on a very small scale, all handmade. And it was in 1959 that the Aluminum Specialty Company of Manitowoc got the rights and redesigned the tree, and they were able to produce millions of these aluminum Christmas trees through the 1960s up until 1972. When they ceased production.
Yeah, they're pretty famous around the world, and they're not cheap, right, Barb?
Oh, no, they're not. I mean, originally they were. I mean, if you worked for Aluminum Specialty back in the day, you could buy those trees for $1 a foot. And I know that some of those 4-foot trees were maybe $6.95, $5.95, $4.95, depending. When they came out with the color, I think my first pink aluminum tree was 8 feet tall. And I paid $800, and I thought, my God, I'm going to have to hide that from the man I live with, because that was a lot of money in 2003. And now I just bought a 7-foot pink, which was more than $800, but they've gotten so rare and they've gotten so hard to find. And when you think it's 2024, and my first tree was purchased in 2003, so it's been 21 years, and then you finally find another one. So, Good Lord, I hope I live long enough to find that 4-foot pink.
Wow. And it's such a deep history. I want to talk for just a second. Before we went live, I asked you guys about the nonprofit you have, and I'm just going to put this on the screen for just a moment. When did you form this entity and what do you do? Generally, what's your mission?
Our mission is to establish a museum celebrating the aluminum history of 4 key players in this community. You've got National Tinsel, made us Tinseltown over 100 years ago. We've got Miro Aluminum, who is very well known for their bakeware. And then we've got Aluminum Specialty, really when Aluminum Specialty did a lot of toys and government issue parts. And then we have Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry. We really have good, solid business people who brought aluminum industry to Manitowoc and helped the middle class thrive during post-war era in Manitowoc. And so I think that's a worthy celebration. We have people coming from all over to celebrate the Evergleam tree, but they have no idea what other things were going on here. And it really is kind of fantastic. Number one, where we live, we have this river lake corridor. And what happens here? I mean, there's just, I don't know if it's the water, but there's a ton of creative minds that have produced wonderful, wonderful products that have helped this community thrive. And I want to celebrate that. I want that to be at the forefront of what brings people here. It's a great community, friendly people, and I think we all deserve a pat on the back for trying to sustain such a beautiful place.
Indeed.
We call it home, and we want to celebrate home.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Tim, what is this like having this at the library now? I think it's wonderful because you put the display right in front of the big windows, the biggest windows into place. Everybody can see it. If you're going to the wharf or you're, driving downtown, you can see this amazing forest. Has the forest grown? What is it like? Is it a huge undertaking for the library, Tim?
Our biggest part of the undertaking is getting out of the way of these two and the people that they bring to help set up. I mean, in all honesty, that's really true. We just have to rearrange things so that we're still functioning as a library, but having this amazing layout of trees is just, it's hard to describe, and it's always sad when it goes away, because there's a lot less sparkle and life in the library without it. I mean, just visually. And since the roads have been made two ways, since A Street is now two ways, it's amazing how far away you can see the trees.
Yeah.
Essentially, when you crest the hill and start coming down by the RAR West, the trees come into view, and they just keep getting bigger. And it's joyous. I can't describe it any other way. I'll find excuses to stay late so I can just stand there and be there with the trees. So and Jordan, when he brought up the 14-foot tree initially, I love when I'm downstairs and I see to a person people coming in and stop, whether they're there for the trees or to get a book and wind up being sucked into being a part of enjoying the trees. It's amazing to watch, from the littlest of kids that are yelling and going candy wild as they come into the library to our senior patrons. Everybody stops and takes in that tree, and it's an amazing thing to watch. And I don't think people really expect to experience as much as they are until they're actually in the presence of the trees. And I know that sounds a little culty, but it's not meant to be. It just draws you in. It's magical.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual program here. Sparkle. What does that entail, you guys? What's going on there?
Well, we talk about the history of the trees. When we do it live in person, we talk about the general history. We talk about all of the different styles, sizes, colors, and shapes of the trees that were produced here in Manitowoc, and really walk people through that. When we do it digitally over Facebook, the following program on the 19th, then we typically invite in some guest speakers, people who were a part of the tree production back in the 60s.
Working the line.
So, people who worked the line, people who worked for the factory, or sometimes people who were related and who have stories that that should be told. And it's great to get those from first person perspective.
You said it the best. It's like a class reunion, and everybody's happy to see each other.
It's a class reunion where people actually like each other.
Well, and they're all in their 80s, mid to late 80s, early 90s, and it's a wonderful way to record that history and to have the people telling the story who were there. You get their viewpoint and you get their truth. So it's just wonderful to hear how everything was put together and where they were doing this work. And I think people find that to be a kind of a, I don't know, it's just kind of a happy evening, isn't it? It just, everybody seems so happy. You mean you're working third shift and you're winding branches, your fingers are getting cut and burned by the glue you have to use to put that tinsel on that rod. But they're smiling and happy and so very, very excited to share the story of being part of that history.
Yeah, I got confirmation today that Darlene Mullner is going to be there.
Yay,
so
Darlene!
Great.
So, Darlene, and one thing she said, and she thought,
Gerald, I think he drilled the holes in the poles.
Yeah.
And I think Inez was a pole winder. So those are good people. And if I can get Ginger back this year, that would be great. Ginger.
Darlene said she loved Darlene. I love working with Darlene. We work on great decisions. That's how I met Darlene. But then she said that, what she loved best about making the trees and being on the line was job security. That you knew the following summer you'd be doing it again. And it's just amazing. And she's talking about it fondly. But, she was a farm girl that, came to the big city to make aluminum trees,
And that was good money back then. They were getting paid well.
Oh, yeah. My mom worked on the line. She paid for Silver Lake with what she made on the line.
All right. Good for her. I mean, those ladies would go to work late at night. And I don't think this probably was 10 months out of the year. If that, it was just it was a window where the trees were made. so that they were available for the holidays. And then they went out and you came back in March and started over. But I think of these mothers who would put their kids to bed and then go to work third shift and be back in time to send everybody off to school, take a little nap and start all over again. But it gave them Christmas present money.
Yeah.
So it was a good wage for them. You bet.
It's amazing.
Even though Virtual Sparkle was born out of necessity because of the pandemic, that's why we did it, because we weren't able to have the in-person event that year. It has grown to be something that it's easily, far and away, still our largest virtual program of the year, with people tuning in from around the country and in some cases around the world while we're doing it live. And the viewership afterwards is crazy. Yeah. And the very first one is when the sisters chimed in online and said they had a 14-foot tree. And we were all like, sure, you have a 14-foot tree. You know, and then they called the next day, got Barb's information. But, you know, that's how it all rolls. But I don't, the panel is what really differentiates that. I mean, the information is great for people who can't make it to town for the in-person Sparkle, but the panel is really something else.
Yeah.
You know, guys, I want to talk about something real quick. Tina and I have just moved. So we had to move all of our stuff that we had collected over 23, 24 years, raising a son. And the stuff I found in the storage in the deep recesses of our old house was quite amazing. I want to talk about if people have these trees and they're in disrepair, right? Or if they're wondering if they're the real thing, or they're wondering, is there a resource for that? And Jordan, I'm kind of looking at you. I want to talk about this because I think it's really kind of a cool thing that you guys have set up here. Code Silver, paging Dr. Evergleam. So are you the lovely assistant, Barb, and Jordan's the doctor? Okay.
I'm Nurse Sparkle. Jordan has the patience. He has the patience to do this job, and I just marvel at what he resurrects. I mean, he does some serious triage with some of these trees, and they look like they've just come off the assembly line when Jordan is done. So he's quite talented. So it's wonderful to be his assistant. We were doing that yesterday. I was passing pieces of metallic tape to Jordan so we could put paper back onto one of the poles so we could put it on display downtown. So I said, it's just like surgery. It was just like surgery.
We were setting up. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. You guys, this is amazing. I am so grateful that you do this for the city of Manitowoc and for all the visitors that come during the holiday to enjoy the holiday parade, and just anybody come into the library. I mean, it is a wonderful thing. And I remember when our son was young, just the delight and magical feeling of Christmas is just brought on and exponentially exaggerated by these trees. You can't help but feel happy when you're around the sparkle. Is there anything else that I have missed that you would like to talk about?
We have walking tours. If you go to www.evergleams.org, Friday night walking tours, starting the Friday after Thanksgiving and through December. And then we have trolley tours on the 14th and the 21st. And those, you can find all the information you need at www.evergleams.org, right down there. And then we also have a gala going on December 21st at the Yacht Club. It's our fundraiser. We're trying to raise funds so that one day we can have that Hip and Happen Aluminum Museum in downtown Manitowoc. And that's my dream, is to have it right downtown, so that everyone can benefit from the placement of those wonderful items and visit all the wonderful shops and people downtown in Manitowoc. So check that out as well. That's on our website. And we do have an agreement with the Inn on Maritime Bay and the Lighthouse Inn. Call those hotels directly and mention the word Evergleam, and you get a special room rate. So you can be
great.
Close at hand. And enjoy what we're doing down here. Enjoy the sparkle.
Awesome. Well, thanks for bringing the Christmas spirit to downtown Manitowoc, you guys. It is just truly magical. And thank you, Tim, for all you do at our public library and bringing these folks in and having this wonderful programming. It's just, I just love it. It's just super cool. So thank you all. And, it's a little early to say, but, Merry Christmas as well.
Well, I don't think it's too early. And I also would like to say that that graphic you had of Tina that you popped up earlier, it looks as if she may be promoting a new cereal that during her spare time she's put out with all these magical marshmallows. So I'm looking forward to the cereal as well.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out a name for that for the next show, Tim. And I'll design the package. And I could probably make one box.
But someone will pick it up, just like the trees, and we'll become cereal moguls then.
Yeah, coolest Coast Crunch.
There you go. Problem solved. I don't have to think at all. Just done.
Done. I like alliteration. That's perfect.
There is a character in a movie called Strictly Ballroom whose name is Tina Sparkles. So it could be Tina Sparkles also. Just hooray, Tina Sparkles. And she brings star marshmallows to the world.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, she definitely makes my life brighter. That's for sure. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. That's our show. And if you need more information, go to evergleams.com, stop in at the library, and enjoy the holiday season. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys.
Thank you for having me.